What goes around comes around. It's certainly a slang that we hear every day to indicate that we create our own destinies, that things that we do come back to bite us at some point of our lives or to reward us, depending on the quality and value of those actions. My name is Aso and I make mindset healing and empowerment videos. I look for conversations like this to start discussions that can move our lives positively by making intentional action and learning and growing from mistakes and lessons from all areas of life. So, the law of cause and effect shows that your actions or inaction are influenced by silent triggers, experiences, and things that are within you, but the fact that they live within you does not mean that they are necessarily by your creation. Some of them are inherited, some of them are based on experiences, and others are lessons that you may not be conscious of their exact origin. Because you, as an individual, with your individual characteristics, are also influenced by generational factors and environmental factors that function hand in hand with your own characteristics. And all those layers come together to influence your life, to create that cause and effect or input and output. Hence, the need for all of us to have that reflection and that intentional action to move things in our lives in a way that understands and addresses those silent existing foundations that influence us without our knowledge. Your habits, your beliefs, your connections, your behavior, your emotions, and all those things that you see as the core values that represent you are yours. Those are your individual identity core aspects, but those are also influenced by everything that came before you and everything that is happening around you. And so you suffer things that you have not necessarily initiated, but also you can influence those things that are happening in your life by initiating new action today, starting your own intentional action that will move your life in a direction that will have new rewards tomorrow, not just for you, but for those around you equally. This means that you have to put aside the blame, that you have to forget who did what or who needs to do what, and recognize that you, from wherever you're coming or wherever you're standing today, has it within you to move you to a mile that will not only change your life but also change your family and your community. An attitude to move life positively, irrespective of where you're coming from. That is the whole value of the cause and effect principle. It means that what you do has an outcome that is bigger than you. It has an outcome that potentially goes for generations. Our actions have consequences. And sometimes these are favorable and in accordance to exactly what we wanted out of those actions. But in other cases, they completely go wrong. We invest with the intention of getting some specific things in life, but what we get is the complete alternative to what we invested in. In other cases, we harvest what other people have yielded in those generational outcomes and consequences that befall us. And so you find that some of the things that are happening in your life are by your own creation. You have moved your life intentionally by putting certain actions into place, whether they deviate from what you experience or they continue in the path of what you have inherited in your own family. In other cases, you have inherited those generational opportunities or curses, those things that have been left behind in terms of finances, in terms of family identities, cultures, behaviors, connections, that tight bond within those relationships in your family, or that dysfunction and aggression and fighting and ingrained dysfunction and toxicity that has been left behind by other people who have worked within that family that you have now inherited. And love it or hate it, it's now in your hands to move in whatever direction you want. And this is the whole point of the law of cause and effect. If what you have does not please you, change it. Otherwise, carry on down that path and hand it over to those who will come after you. That is certainly how it works within families. Some of us grow up and find those opportunities. We grow up with those close knit families with beautiful family identities and come togethers that we inherit those stories of possibilities that build us and craft us into who we are today. Even though we have our own identity and DNA to tap into, we are byproducts of what we experience. We are byproducts of the families we grow up in. We are byproducts of our environment and political situation. So a child who grows up in a war-torn country is presented with different odds, different possibilities, and a different mindset than a child who grows up in a thriving economy with opportunities and a whole level of connection that is presented to them. These all matter. And what you do then with your own space and your own platform matters in terms of what it will do for you now and the platform and layers that it will set out for those around you and those who will come after you. We sometimes think that who we are and what we've been presented with is the end of us or the end of life, but that is not true. And this is why we are always being motivated to surround ourselves with people who have positive impact on us so that we don't get caught up in other people's karma, either consciously or unconsciously, physically or emotionally. When bullets start flying, you can be caught up physically within those circumstances just by being present around those people. And when positive vibes are flying, when knowledge and those discussions about creation and opportunity are flying, you can also get caught up positively in those discussions just by your presence in those environments or relationships. That is why it's important to be intentional in where you position yourself. Be intentional in your own action to create and to serve and to move life meaningfully, to influence yourself, and in doing so, influence those around you. Because what you do starts a chain reaction that does not end with you. The law of cause and effect shows that it starts from you, but it goes further than you. It starts now, but it yields later in life. And that what you are today and what you do today is sometimes a creation of yourself or an inheritance of where you're coming from. And if you're not careful, you will live a life just because you inherited it, a life that was planted by someone else in another lifetime. Yes, karma exists, but sometimes we suffer what other people started, and we start what other people will either benefit from or suffer from. And so, as much as we complain today about what is difficult, we can start what will be easier tomorrow for us and for those around us.